high speed, very fast version, and all about the best driving styles you can possibly get. Good evening to you all. I'm Pete Marcroft live here on Twitch.tv. The chat box is open here on Channel 1, so if you are watching this around the world, then we can definitely do what we can to get your messages out there. So going on to the track at the moment, on board at the moment with Skunky Puppy using the cameras going on the camel straight towards the very tricky chicane that's right at the end. Very easy to get this wrong. All about your downforce, getting your levels completely right, getting through here as quick as possible. Kisses a nice apex at the start there, really interestingly well. Going through the final part into the outside of the curbs, doing a spot-on job, heading down towards the tricky downhill hairpin corner known as Bruxelles and as Rivage. All a matter of which perspective you go by and which you agree with. And then we're heading into the corner with no name, often referred to as turn 9. They're very easy to go off the circuit there and find yourself really pushed too far to the edge and into the tyre wall. You can gain a little bit of time before Puon. This is the double apex left-hander. It's very wide, very wide, lots of runoff areas, very much the case of all-out attack. And a Spa-Francorchamps, you have to decide, do you go for the more Red Bull-esque kind of all-out attack, high downforce strategy, or do you go for a much more Monza spec, low downforce, slippery in a straight line, and sacrifice bits where you're going for a Stavalo, and you see a Skunky Puppy's really pushing the RUF as much as he can, and so goes to Kirby Paul Ferrari, going on the outside, he's really close to the outside curb, rides that beautifully, heading in towards this almost Valencia-esque track section here, which is extremely fast for sector 3, on towards the fearsome Blanchimont, 200 miles an hour in the right class of vehicle. You're not going to get on a GT3 car, but you certainly saw the pace of Skunky Puppy heading into the bus stop chicanes. Bit of shadow is far south now, no longer a case of a left-right then a right-left, but one simple chicane that takes you on towards what's normally the start-finish straight, but we are on the sports car layout here at Spa-Francorchamps in the GT3 Championships live on Twitch.tv. Into the source hairpin, you can see all the marbles on the outside there, but he's taking that really well, going a bit wide on the outside there. You saw the car getting unsettled as he tried to get the power down this RUF. First lap on the board, and it's going to be a 2:16.1. That's a bit of a marker thrown down already. Ace Killer in the McLaren MP4-12C has got to see what he can do to respond to that as he head down towards Rivage. He's into sector 2 of this circuit with a wide entry there, trying to go on the more traditional karting line rather than taking the Formula 1-esque approach. If you are out there watching at the moment live on Twitch.tv, the chat box is open. Please get your messages in there. We'll do all we can to get through them. Also wants Puon here in the McLaren MP4-12C. Ace Killer getting a very nice run on the inside apex there, clipping that absolutely beautifully. Not really carrying much speed, doesn't sound like that from the engine thus far, but then again, sometimes they say the slower it looks, the faster the lap actually is. Heading into the Farnier chicane, and it's much of a tricky circuit this. In fact, it's very tight on the second corner. If you get the feeling it's going to open up for you, into Stavalo, and it's gone wide there. He's had to correct the car halfway through the turn, and that's going to compromise him into Kirby Paul Ferrari at the start of sector 3. He's pushing as wide as he can, but again, not really going to the outside. We saw Skunky Puppy trying to ride that almost to the edge there, really on all-out attack, whereas Ace Killer has gone for a much more traditional smooth approach. Heading into Blanchimont, we saw the Max Verstappen overtake Esteban Gutierrez here once, and again, Ace Killer favouring that same kind of line with how wide he went there as he headed to the bus stop chicane on the brakes nice and early. Possibly a little too early there, actually. He's had to compromise and get on the gas before he's got to the corner, and that's compromised his exit at the bus stop chicane, heading through the Formula 1 pit paddock down towards Lassos, the final corner on the sports car layout here at Spa-Francorchamps, the Ardennes Forest in Belgium. And you can see he's getting very close to the inside wall there. You have to really attack that, almost like you're going to redecorate it with your tyres. Heading for the start-finish line. Are we going to see a time here from Ace Killer? Currently showing us P10 due to no time at 2:22. It's going to look P9 at the moment. Suster Flint, meanwhile, is 8th place in the Genesis G55, a car which will be a bit more suited to this circuit in the fact that it's much more about low downforce, but he's completely got that wrong. Heading out of that chicane down towards Rivage, really made a mess of that. Kevin Ramsey, meanwhile, on a 2:22 in the RUF. Is he going to go for the pits? No, he has actually got another lap here, so walk right on board, one of the faster drivers in the division at the moment. Really needs to get some solid points points on the board after not really scoring when we lost out on Mount Panorama in Bathurst, Australia. So Killer Ramsey's got to try and get himself back into the hunt here, taking a wider line. Didn't really sound like he was pushing the engine there. A 2:22.0 is his best so far. Is this going to be an improvement for the RUF driver? Yes, it is. A 2:16.6. 6 seconds improvement. Evidently, he was held up somewhere on the line. A 9:40.01 means that we've got an RUF 1, 2, 3. Shades of last season's World Endurance Championship where Porsche dominated. And it seems so far at Spa, we might be seeing a bit of that carrying on. But Bob Leeswager, the last winner out at Bathurst, Australia, in the Audi R8, he's actually been compromised because his former teammate, Welshie, aka Bad Boy, has regrettably left the division. So as a result of that, he's now gone and he's driving for the Emochi team instead, and he's been partnering to try and change himself back onto the board. Got the maximum points out last time, but at the moment he seems like he's in a distant third for Audi. A case of life imitating art from last season. Though for those of you who actually have been following the World Endurance Championship, the first round at Silverstone is this weekend. So you can actually catch the Chinese Formula 1 Grand Prix tomorrow, and there's 6 hours of the World Endurance Championship if you're really in the mood for your motorsport fix. That's live on Motors TV, I believe. And Porsche are actually off the pace at the moment. It's Audi who are 1-2 in the qualifying for the World Endurance. Toyota a distant 4th and 5th and 6th. So the world of more prototypes should be quite interesting to watch around Silverstone. But let's ride the ball with Bob Leeswager, going wide on the outside at Kirby Paul Ferrari into the final sector here at Spa-Francorchamps. Really have to get on the pace here, really have to attack the course. Very similar to the final sector at the Valencia circuit when that was on the Formula 1 calendar, into Blanchimont. And you can see all drivers going for that wide line there, almost reminiscent of the DTM line that all the touring car drivers take at Hockenheim. But into the bus stop chicane, went a little wide on the first turn there, but he's allowed the wider exit, so pushing closer to the second apex and get on the power as we head down towards La Source, the tight hairpin, where you've got to use the wall on the inside as your barometer. You've got to almost try and go through the wall to get the maximum pace there. And Bob Leeswager, you can see how they straightened the car up as he aimed to smash that wall. Got the Audi R8 LMS heading towards the line. 2:18.1 was his best. Is this an improvement? No, it's not. No improvement from Bob Leeswager. He remains in 4th place. We've got 5 minutes remaining here at Spa-Francorchamps. Paulie Dog, his teammate in the Emochi, driving also in the Audi R8 LMS, heading down towards Lake Combe at the end of the Camel Straight. Got to try and get a good line here, try and get off his teammate. He's gone a bit wide there, had to compromise on the brakes. Getting into the second part of the turn, you can see he's got much better, smoother line through that second corner. A little kiss on the brake and a little lick of flame as he gets through the third and final part down towards Ravage. Polly Dog, how wide is it? Oh, very wide exit there. He's had to go almost around the outside like it's a wet karting line. That's going to compromise him into turn 9 on the way down to Puon. He's really going to try and get some rag here, and he's also got one of the BMW M3s in the way. Turbulent air, not really as much of an issue in GT cars, but traffic can certainly cause murder if you try to get by. Heading through the double apex handler of Puon on down towards Fanier chicane, and you can see that he's been hampered now by the BMW Z4, which is really getting in the way, getting a bit ragged. And I get the feeling Paulie Dog's lost out here because I don't think he's going to be able to get past him before Stavelot. He'll be brave if he can. No, he can't. So you can see how much he's being compromised. Heading down towards Kirby Palferay, the BMW Z4 pulls off. Oh, almost hit each other there. The BMW Z4 driver, not sure who that was not able to get out of the way. So as a result of that, that's really compromised them. That wasn't football, it was actually, I think it was Super Bob who's got in the way there. A bit of a disaster. So we're right in the back of the field. Vickers VF1 at 2:26, 10 seconds off the pace. I've not seen that kind of disparity since 40 course had their first entrance in the Formula 1 back in 1994. He's really got to find some pace if Vickers wants to have any chance of being able to get classified here, because there's 17 laps at Spa-Francorchamps, so it's going to be a bit of a long one this, and he's really got to get the pace in there if he's going to have any chance of being able to make this through. Into Stavelot, and you can see that Vickers VF1 not quite comfortable in that McLaren MP4-12C, struggling to keep the power down, struggling to keep the traction in place there as he does all he can to really attack and get back into this race. heading into the third sector down towards Blanchimont, where it's all about balls out, aggression, and really attacking the car and having faith in the downforce. Vickers doesn't seem to have that much confidence. He saw the car snaking and sliding as he went through the chicanes there. Really found it tricky. Into the bus stop. Gets on the brakes nice and early, clips the inside curb very nice on the sausage, gets the second exit quite good. This is looking pretty promising as we head over what would be the Formula 1 finish line onto the DRS straight, not here in GT. As we head towards last source, the final corner on this layout, the sports car design goes towards the wall, doesn't manage to get too close to it, but look at the lack of pace, really not confident, and look how much width he's left on the outside of the circuit there. He could have probably whacked that car a little more, put a bit more power down, but he hasn't proved. He's got to a 2:22, so he's managed to find 4 seconds. He's got football 6.7611 in the BMW Z4, heading towards the end of the Camel Straight into Lake Coombe. Gets a little wide on the exit there, but he uses that to swing back in. The evidently potent downforce of the BMW Z4 giving him that real opportunity. The downhill hairpin corner at Rivage, you can see Overdrive's being caught out there by the blind entry. Almost similar in many ways to the corkscrew in that it drops away from you very sharply, and you have to have like faith in the car that you're going to hit the apex. And football 6.7611 doesn't seem to quite have that. As he enter Pouon, you can see he's getting on the brakes a little more than most of the front runners and isn't able to pick the car out as quickly at the second part of the corner. So it's just not quite got that front line pace. But 2:21, it's got him hovering on and around about the 10th place at this time. Who wants to break into the top 10 if possible? Heading for the Farnier chicane. Football 6.7611 on towards Stavelot, the start of sector 3. Much better entry there, really rode that curve well, went onto the outside, much cleaner into Kirby Palfrey. Football 6-7, oh, how wide was that? He almost went into the wall there. He took the attack a little too seriously and tried to put speed in the car that was not there, and he's gone off completely. That's the end of his qualifying. Dan RC 2010, meanwhile, in the McLaren MP4-12C, into Stavelot, down towards Kirby Palfrey, not making the same mistake that Football 6.7611 made, gets a really decent ride for a Kirby Palfrey there, avoids the gravel part, and those I've just seen a message from one of the drivers there halfway through the race, so I'm not quite sure what that is, so I'm going to actually respond to that while we head through there, but unfortunately I've not got the qualifying laps because it's kind of timed off on me. So we've got 5 minutes of preparation time, so I'm going to quickly get a message out to Skarky about what it is that he wants here. Oh. There's no mandatory pit stop set, very simple, everyone has to stop. So I'll put a message to him and the rest of the drivers here say, calling a double apex in towards Fania. You can see the car snaking left and right as it's struggling to get the grip down through Fania on towards Stavelot. And Subon 1995 really finding it difficult here. Finding it very difficult to get on the inside, really pushing wide there. For snaking for a car through the second part of Stavelot on towards Kirby Palfrey. This is not a pretty lap at all from Superbob. It's only a warm-up. It doesn't count for anything. None of the times here do. In time. So it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get this forward here, otherwise it's going to be a bit of an issue. Now, meantime, going through the Lake Coombe complex, and you can see it's Superbod 1995, not as confident driving in the BMW M3. It's not quite got the grip of the BMW Z4, but what it does have is quite a lot of grunt in it. Not quite as much as the Ginetta G55 that's being driven by Skanky Puppy, but needless to say, the drivers at the front of the moment has all been the RUS thus far. Now we are going to have a warm-up lap on this, but to get the formation and the rundown through the grid, and then it will be racing for 17 laps at Spa-Francorchamps. Superbon 1995 going as wide as he dares through the Pouon double corner, double apex in towards Fania. You can see the car snaking left and right as it's struggling to get the grip down through Fania on towards Stavelot. And Superbon 1995 really finding it difficult here. Finding it very difficult to get on the inside, really pushing wide there. for sneaking for a car through the second part of Stavelo on towards Kirby Palfrey. This is not a pretty lap at all from Superbob. It's only a warm-up. It doesn't count for anything. None of the times here do. This is almost like that final reconnaissance. That last moment for you to go out there, see if there's any differential in the grip levels. Is there anything else you can learn before you have to go all out? Well, Superbob's just learned something massively there about how you can drift through Bludgeon and use the runoff to avoid hitting the wall. I wouldn't recommend doing that as a racing strategy. You are likely to tear your tyres off the rim. And indeed, Superbob doing an Alexander Vert, changing to the pit lane very, very quickly. So we're right above Assistant Flint, who's driving in the Ginetta G55. This all-out animal of a car. It's got lots of grunt, lots of power, but very, very little grip. It's a track that might suit this car because there's so many long straights and so much high-powered torque moments. The Ginetta G55 has got the opportunity, but you've also got corners like this, like Lake Coombe, where it's very tight, twisty chicanes, and you can see how much struggle he had through the first apex of Lake Coombe there. Heading down towards Ravage, you can see that the car is snaking left and right, fighting for grip that is just not there. Into reverse, System Flint. Look at how wide he went there as the tail kicks out of the back of that Ginetta G55. This is an absolute animal of a car to control, and I get the feeling he's realised he's not going to get much out of this lap because he went on a very strange line through turn 9, heading out towards Pouon. You can see he's almost like he's given up here, but at the same time, he has still learned that crucial thing about where the car can be pushed. Heading into the first part of Pouon, gets a drift the outside line. Second part of Pouon coming up. Is he going to keep it much smoother here? Yes, he is. Actually, this is the outside curve, but quite a way. Heading into Fagnier, really high on the ragged edge of the torque range there. The first part of Fagnier doing a really good job here, but he's gone very, very wide, almost into the gravel. That was inches away from disaster. System Flint able to arrest that beautifully before Stavelo, but has then dropped it and into the wall. So we're pretty much at the end of this free practice run, so Superbob's out on track. I don't know. Football 67601, we'll take a look at him. He had a 2:22 as his pit qualifying time, so he's quite a bit off the pace of the front runners. But then again, that's not always an indicator. One lap pace gets you no points. It's all about your pace on the race day. And we saw it at Mount Panorama with drivers dropping out left and right. You could have been as slow as Craig 102 back in the day, the early days of XRL, and you'd have still picked up the points because the other guys failed to finish. Football 67601 goes wide at the edge of Pouon, and that is going to bring this to a close. And again, we've not really learned much in the way of times here. All we know is that it's Spa, it's low downforce, it's high speed, and it's going to be an awesome watch here live and exclusive on Twitch.tv, courtesy of Excite Racing League, commentary by Peter Marcroft, all the drivers on track, ready to give a classic of a race here ahead. Get your comments in, we want to hear what you've got to say. We're going to get ready for the formation lap. Oh, in the meantime, I think we just lost Ace Killer, who joined the track and then has unfortunately missed out. Well, in the meantime, I'm going to retire to the pits as we catch up to the drivers at the front. And you can see that the drivers have gone for a much more traditional start here at first, but they are now forming up into the actual order for the warm-up lap. So on pole position, you've got Skanky Puppy in the RUF. His teammate Killer Ramsey is second. Bergamo is showing third at the moment. In fourth place, Bob Lee Sparger. But I think the drivers are trying to get back into order here. You can see 94001 is slowly going on the outside, overtaking both Bob Lee Sparger and Bergamo to get back into position at the top of the order. Then we've got Bob Lee Swager showing us 5th place. We've got 6th place Paulie Dog, 7th Ace Killer 15, System Flint in 8th in the Ginetta G55, Maldovic in the Fiat1 in the McLaren MP4-12C. His teammate Baker Bonds is in 10th place. Then we've got Don RC 2010 at 11th. We've got Football 676 in 12th, Vickers in 13th, Superbob in 14th, and rounding off the thick is Flipper Racing in 15th place. So cycling through as quick as we can. You can see that 94001 made a mistake and has got compromised here, and he's actually gone off position. He's now down in 4th place. Bergamo is in 3rd, and these drivers have all got to stay together. They can't afford to allow Skanky Puppy and Killer Ramsey to get the drop on them, almost like at the start of the safety car period, where if you're not close enough to the back, you will find yourself losing out big time. So we're going to go to the front of the field. Killer Ramsey in second place. Teammate Scarky Bobby in first. We've got Bagavo in third place. We've got Night 4001 in fourth. Bubbly Swagger fifth. And Paulie Dog in sixth place. Ace Killer in seventh. These guys are all going to be close to each other. As Night 4001 is really getting to the back of Bagavo here. He does not want to be dropped by the top RUF drivers. And in fact, Bagavo might be letting back through into third place here. No, actually, Bagavo's just trying to slow the pace down a little bit here. Maybe he's trying to create that extra gap as Skanky Puppy starts to back up the field, going towards Blodgemont. An old-fashioned strategy here from the current championship leader, Skanky Puppy. Killer Ramsey, his teammates, creating a little bit of distance behind him. You've got Bagavo in third, Night 4001 in fourth place. So we're going to ride on board with Skanky just to see if we can get the drop on the field coming towards the end of the bus stop chicane. After this, we've got the final straight before the last horse. At that point, we will be racing for 16 laps here at the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Can't give him slowing the field right down. Everyone getting very, very close together. After this corner, we will be racing. And all coverage brought to you courtesy of Excite Racing League, exclusively live on twitch.tv. The chat box is open for your comments. We'll ride on board with third place Bagavo as we see at the front of the field. Killer Ramsey and Skanky Puppy at the head of the snake. So after we go around the hairpin corner, the guys will get up to speed. And it's going to be lights out and racing. Here we go. Killer Ramsey gets on the anchors as quick as he can. He's been followed by Skanky Puppy. Look at the difference already. Killer Ramsey has fallen behind by quite a way. Bagavo, meanwhile, has been really caught out here. Night 4001. Nobody able to get close enough. And Bubbly Swagger in the Audi is trying to take a closer look as well. Bergamo goes a little wide there. That allows Night 4001 to get in the slipstream. But Bubbly Swagger, look how close. Being followed by his teammate Paulie Dog. These drivers, all four are pressed on. Heading into the second part. Bagavo's going to second place. One of the RUS now. I'm not sure who that was. That was actually Skanky Puppy, who's had a big mistake. He's all the way down in fifth place now. But Ace Killer has been helped the circuit by one of the Audis there. Skanky Puppy now in fifth place, following the back of Bubbly Swagger in the Audi R8 LMS. Then you've got ahead of him Night 4001, and then Bagavo in BMW Z4. These top five drivers. And meanwhile, look at this. System Flint trying to go on the outside of Rivage on the back of Ace Killer 15. That's not going to happen. And as a result, Maldovic is now getting closer in the back of the McLaren MP4-12C. Well, let's move further forward. Skanky Puppy looking at the back of Bubbly Swagger's Audi R8 LMS. Look at the great differential as we go through Pouon there. You can really see Skanky Puppy has a great attack on the back of that Audi. Well, Bubbly Swagger winning last time out of Mount Panorama, Bathurst, Australia. It's not going to give this up very easily going through the 58 chicane. Look at Skanky Puppy. He's really aggressing that vehicle. He may try and fancy a move around the outside of Stumble. Have been very brave indeed here. Skanky Puppy gives up the ghost at this point as Bubbly Swagger is being very, very defensive as we go into curving Palfrey. And Skanky Puppy really in the slipstream. You might fancy an opportunity going around the outside of Blodgemont here as Bubbly Swagger flashes his headlights at the back of Night 4001. Skanky Puppy's looking at it, thinking I'm going to go through Blodgemont, just too far behind. Can't get side up, but all the drivers, look how wide they go. Oh, Skanky Puppy's overcut it. He's gone completely up the city, spun around, has been collected by System Flint. Disaster for the RUF driver, absolute catastrophe. Ace Killer 15 is now in second place. We've got Maldovic in sixth place. System Flint in fifth. Absolute catastrophic accident there. Bubbly Swagger gets away with that as Night 4001 in third place looks at the back of Bagavo, who started to catch up to the back of Killer Ramsey. But what a brave attempt by Skanky Puppy. But unfortunately he was collected at the worst possible moment by System Flint, who moves to V5 as a result of that hellacious accident. Moving further back through the field, Paulie Dog in 8th place trying to recover in the Audi R8 LMS. Having started 6th place, and all the drivers really using as much of the grip as possible to come off the edge of the come out of the edge of Eau Rouge. And look at that, great move for a bacon boss. A couple of drivers seem to be letting each other through here. Not quite sure what's happening, maybe it's a few lag issues. I'm not entirely sure, but Football 676 number 1 trying to go around the outside of Lake Coo, and what an overtake that was. Really good move on Maldovic and Bacon Boss there. Superb driving from the BMW Z4 driver. Then you've got Don RC 2010 looking at the back of Paulie Dog, who's doing everything he can to close onto the back of Ace Killer 15. And look at System Flint, the front of that. Look how wide G went through that corner. System Flint almost went straight into the wall there, but got away with that. All the drivers really pushing a lot in terms of track extensions. We know full well that can lead to penalties. You've got to avoid doing that. As Bob Lee Swager looks at the back of Knight 4001, evidently the RUS just a little too strong as Bergamo tries to catch up to the back of Killer Ramsey, who's just started to dance ahead. We've got 15 laps left here at the Spa-Francorchamps, going through Kirby Porphyry at the start of Sector 3. These drivers are all spread out, so moving back through the field, looking at Paulie Dog in the Audi R8 LMS, going through Stavelot into Kirby Porphyry, doing everything he can to catch us to the back of Ace Killer 15 in the McLaren MP4-12C. But the field has got that little bit of a spread. Moving further back, I think there's a bit of a duel coming on here between Football 6711 and also Dan RC 2010 in the McLaren MP4-12C, riding beautifully in the slipstream to Sector 3 towards Blanchimont, going as wide. Okay, the cameras have got a bit strange here. Viewers, not sure what's happened there. Paulie Dog looking at the back of the footballers. Yeah, the cameras have all messed up a bit here. I'm not entirely certain who I'm following. Dan RC 2010 looking at the back of Football 611. They've got a poor exit at the start of the bus stop chicane. This might allow Dan to get a look at the inside of Lassos. Gets on the brakes nice and late. It's going to be a brake move. No, he's just too far behind. Meanwhile, looking at the back, Maldovic is being attacked aggressively by the System McLaren MP4-12C. Bacon Buzz almost shoves him into the pit wall there as we head down towards Eau Rouge. Shades of Mark Webber and Fernando Alonso in the 2010 Grand Prix here. Maldovic is just a little ahead and Bacon Buzz could not make the move at this time. However, he's surely going to be fancying a move over the top of Radion, heading on towards Lake Coombe at the end of the Camel Straight. Magnificent aggression so far, but these drivers have been a bit scruffy so far tonight. It's not been a pretty race, but it's been enthusiastic. Dan RC 2010 trying to get up close to the back of Football 67611, heading at the edge of Lake Coombe down towards Ravage. You can see that the BMW Z4 just has the power to be able to draw away heading into this tight downhill hairpin. And Dan RC 2010 is forced to be patient here, forced to keep waiting, trying to get his opportunities as the lap goes on. Moving further forward, System Flint is 7th place. He's looking at the back of Paulie Dog, who's still not been able to get by Ace Killer 15. He's really having to rack that Audi R8 LMS. He's just not quite had the pace. Having qualified strongly, the race performance of that Audi has so far not come to the fore. Having said that, he's got a bit of a better run here, Paulie Dog, on the back of Ace Killer 15. So going out the edge of Kirby Porphyry down towards the bus stop chicane, this might be an opportunity to attack here. You can see that Paulie Dog fancies his chances, gets in the slipstream, heading on towards the Blanchimont fast sweeper before the bus stop chicane. And you can see that Paulie Dog seems to be a little more confident in the car here, much more buoyant as we go off camera due to a glitch in the system. So riding on board as we come together, you can see Paulie Dog getting up close through the back of the bus stop chicane, gets to the slipstream, gets a much tidier run through that as we go to the onboard cameras. Heading to the outside, you can see that Paulie Dog's got a much better run here down towards. Moving on, looking at the fastest laps times at 2:17.0 from Killer Ramsey is the best on him. 2:17.6 from Bergamo, Bob Lee Swager at 2:18.1. Then you got Knight 4001 at 2:18.8. A 2:20.0 from Ace Killer and a 2:21 from Paulie Dog. And then a 3:14 from System Flint. That's got to be an error. You can't be that far out of the field. And indeed, it looks like he has actually had a bit of a reset. It's a 2:20.0 now. Much more accurate. Good evening to Lesbic Gaming, who's just putting on the chat box. Hello, Mr. Swish. Hello to you too. Thank you very much for joining us here live and exclusive on Twitch.tv as Paulie Dog gets a nice move on the inside. Looking to try and go around the outside of Lake Coombe. It's very difficult to overtake there. He'll get the filtering line from the second part of the corner, but then the third part of the corner will fall back towards Ace Killer. Indeed it does. Paulie Dog just not able to close the gap. System Flint, the Ginetta G55, trying to get as close to the back of the Audi R8 LMS, heading into the downhill hairpin at Ravage here at Spa-Francorchamps. Here live and exclusive on twitch.tv, courtesy of Excite Racing League. Get your comments in the chat box like Weswick if you are watching this live. If not, fill in the YouTube comments. We will be live there as well very shortly. Now, you can see Paulie Dog heading down towards Pouon, getting a quick run through the inside of the first part of the turn there. Getting frustrated behind the back of Ace Killer. He's just not quite got the straight line pace. He's all over him through the corners, but he's just not able to close that gap when it matters. And you get the feeling this is going to come down to a damn dare move rather than a case of outdriving the vehicle or maybe a strategy involving the pits. We've only got 13 laps to go though, because here at Spa-Francorchamps, one of the longest circuits on the calendar behind the Nordschleife and of course the Le Mans Circuit de la Sarthe, the two blue ribbon races that end the season. Next week we will be at the very low downforce, very high speed Autodromo de Monza in Italy. One of the classic circuits, which is a bit of an uncertain future at the moment, as a certain dwarf by the name of Ecclestone refuses to negotiate on his fees. Well, I'm sure we'll still enjoy the race next week out anyway, as Paulie Dog gets on the brakes very, very sharply into the bus stop chicane, trying to do all he can to psych out Ace Killer as he head down towards the end of what will be the Formula 1 lap, and the last horse hairpin is the final turn on the sports car layout. Paulie Dog getting the power down as quick as he can. Is he going to fancy a late lunge here? No, he's just not close enough. And you can see how frustrating this was being. Oh, Ace Killer's pulled very, very close to the inside there. Almost defensive, or cost him a lot of critical speed. This is Paulie Dog's last opportunity to get on the slipstream. Is he going to try and do a Mark Webber here? Oh, he's just not close enough to make that move stick. But he's now going to have a better chance through Old Rouge, over the top of Radio, down Kemmel straight towards Lake Combe. This is his best opportunity. Pulls out the slipstream, gets on the gas. Is he going to be able to get the car stopped into Lake Combe and take that position away? This looks pretty much a formality, but at the same time, Ace Killer's fighting back in the McLaren MP4-12C. There's contact made, and that might allow System Flint the Ginetta G55 to follow him through. Indeed he does, but he goes off the circuit. He may have to get that position back, otherwise that could be a penalty for the Ginetta driver. Up ahead, 94001 has fallen away quite far from Bobley Swager, who's fallen a little bit from Bergavo, and Bergavo's way behind Killer Ramsey in the RUS. It's all quiet on the western front here. Paulie Dog starts to pull in. You can see System Flint has got that McLaren MP4-12C and Ace Killer all over him, who fancies to move round through Pouon. It's not often you see an overtake there, but Ace Killer 15 is not intimidated as he gets into the slipstream down towards the Farnier chicane. He may fancy a look up the inside here as System Flint goes very, very wide, kicks up the tyre smoke, the animal of the car, the Ginetta G55. All talk and all power, but no grip whatsoever. Heading into Stavelot, he fancies to move on the inside, has been brave as a drifting System Flint just about stays ahead going into the centre free to start, curving off right. And Ace Killer 15 getting into the slipstream. System Flint being brave, brash and aggressive here, when you get the feeling that the McLaren MP4-12C is going to find a way past very quickly indeed. Ace Killer thinking about going around the outside of Blanchimont. It's brave to do that. Foolish but brave. Getting on the in-car view here, heading towards the bus stop chicane. You can see the System Flint is just not confident in the car. Well, look how wide he's gone there. He's made that completely wrong. And this could be an awesome switchback move here from Ace Killer. Indeed it is. But is that going to allow System Flint to get a run on him outside of La Source, down towards Eau Rouge in the Ginetta G55, because they are close indeed. He fancies the karting line as Ace Killer 15 chasing the more traditional F1 line, tries to cut back on him, and System Flint might have an opportunity here because of the power and the torque in the Ginetta G55, heading down towards Eau Rouge and onto the top of Radion. Ace Killer 15 managing to just hold out for now as System Flint in the Ginetta G55 is going to be all over the back of his slipstream, gets right into the toe of the McLaren MP4-12C. Ace Killer is under real threat here. He might be a sitting duck. Pulls to the middle of the circuit, shades of XRL GS here, heading in towards Lake Combe. System Flint gets on the brakes, extremely late, manages to somehow stop the car. They're still close together. This is phenomenal racing here between these two drivers, the Ginetta versus the McLaren, as Tristan Flint looks at the back of Ace Killer 15, heading into Ravage. Is he going to move here on the inside? Gets a kick of flame as he goes into the drop, almost like it's on a roller coaster here, heading in towards turn 9. You can see that Ace Killer is able to pull away a little bit here. The more downforce friendly sector 2 section is better for him, but at the same time, Tristan Flint is absolutely dragging that car by the scruff of the neck to try and get some performance and get himself back into the game. Moving further back through the field, you see Football 6-7 to 6-1 being followed by Moldavit, but not very closely. Dan RC 2010 has got Vickers. Now behind Vickers is Flipper Racing, right at the back of the field in the BMW Z4. Not been able to make any real progress. Bacon Bonds down in 13th, and then Skanky Puppy, who is really doing everything he can to recover after that catastrophic accident, which he was lucky to not actually retire in the race from, to get himself back into the front. But Flipper Racing, last battle for the bottom of the points here, so we'll keep on board with this for a while, as Vickers VF1 and the McLaren MP4-12C tries to resist the BMW Z4 driver. 11 laps remain here at Spa-Francorchamps. Thank you all very much for joining us here live on twitch.tv, and you can see that Flipper Racing gets into the slipstream, really attacking as best as he can at the back of Vickers VF1, but the McLaren MP4-12C seems to have the legs in this more high-speed section, getting into the in-car camera, and you can see Flipper Racing just able to close that gap, and there's a big significant difference as we head to the bus stop chicane. But Vickers goes wide at the first part of the corner, and that allows Flipper Racing to start closing the gap as we head down towards La Source at the end of the lap, heading up towards Eau Rouge, and this is definitely an opportunity for Flipper Racing to get himself back towards the front end of the points here. Gets very close to the back of Vickers VF1 and the McLaren, just not got the pace, but Flipper Racing doing a really good opportunity, putting on a show here for the fans, heading in towards Eau Rouge and Radion, one of the fastest and most hair-raising parts of the circuit anywhere in the world. Flipper Racing gets on the edges of the apexes very nicely there, and gets a better exit over the top of Radion than Vickers, so he's going to get in the slipstream down towards Lake Coombe. This is a great opportunity here for Flipper Racing to go on the offensive. Gets on the slipstream. Is he going to be close enough to attack? No, just not close enough. Just doesn't quite have that edge that he needs heading into Lake Coombe. Out of Lake Coombe, down towards Ravage, and Flipper Racing really on the attack, trying to do everything he can to close up to Vickers in the McLaren, but the BMW just doesn't seem to quite have the legs, doesn't seem to have the extra grip it needs to make compensate for it either. More a Red Bull strategy rather than the Mercedes strategy in terms of setup here, and while Flipper Racing has kept the Vickers VF1 honest, he hasn't put him under serious threat as yet. But as we head into Pouillon, you can see that Flipper Racing is really enjoying this higher downforce, higher speed section, and that's allowing him to close the gap as we head towards Fanier. Is he going to be close enough to make a finger move with the Stavolo? Possibly. He's getting a better run. In fact, Vickers had to get on the extra brakes there halfway through the Fanier chicane. Flipper Racing smells blood in the water as he heads to the start of sector 3, gets on the outside, goes aggressive, really using the outside line there as Vickers gets a little hair-raisingly wrong, gets too short to the inside line, throws him wide for Gerben for 8, and that allows Flipper Racing to really start getting into the toe through sector 3. You can see that he's so much more confident, the BMW Z4 driver, so much more into the control of the car. Heading into Blanchimont, you can see he's gone much more aggressive and abrasive. Cutting to the inside car, he's got a much better exit as he heads towards the bus stop chicane side by side. He goes onto the outside, can he stop the car? It's going to be pretty tight this, and there's an opportunity for Vickers VF1 to attack again in the McLaren MP4-12C. Vickers has not given up as he's got a better exit on the second part of the bus stop chicane here, heading down towards La Source. He fancies the inside line. Vickers VF1, is he going to outcycle his driver? Now, Rival, no, he's not. He's decided that he's going to wait for the Eau Rouge Camel Straight opportunity combo. Gets into the slipstream, really close to the back of that BMW Z4. It could be a very short-lived victory here for Flipper Racing, because Vickers VF1 is really on the attack, heading up the fast sweepers of Eau Rouge, over the top of Radion, onto the Camel Straight. And look at the difference in speed with the McLaren driver, but Flipper really squeezing, moving left and right, defending way too many times here. He could get himself a severe penalty for that. You can't move more than once. It's one of the rules of racing, heading into Lake Coombe, and that was very aggressive defensive drive from Flipper Racing there. You are allowed to move once, but after that you can't keep switching around. Vickers will feel aggrieved, and that could easily be a penalty. Into Rivage, Vickers VF1 looking at the back of that BMW Z4. He wants to get past that as quick as he can. He made the mistake at the bus stop chicane and that cost him dearly. But Vickers VF1 is not going to let this slide that simply. He's all over the back of Flipper Racing, moving further forward just for a few moments. Dan RC 2010 out on his own, System Flint in the same boat. Maldovic's doing a good job quietly and conservatively below the radar in 7th. Then you got Football 76711 doing a really good job in the BMW Z4. You got Ace Killer 15 who's holding himself all the way up to 5th place now. Paulie Dog is in 4th place. Bobley Swagger in 3rd in the Audi. Then you got Bergamo in 2nd, but way out in front is Killer Ramsey, really doing the job that he needed to thus far. But moving back through, I want to see this duel between Flipper Racing and Vickers VF1. You can see that Vickers has actually fallen away a little bit on this point. I'm disappointed. I thought Vickers would be much closer to the back of that BMW, and as a result, unfortunately, we've lost a bit of a duel. But look at this. Skanky Puppy is now in 12th place, knocking on the bottom door of the points after that mistake that he made earlier on in the race at Blanchimont, which caused him to get collected by his teammate System Flint. Meanwhile, I think one of the leaders may have actually lapped Skanky Puppy there. No, it's not. It's 94001. Evidently been into the pits and come out way down the field. So he's now attacking the back of Skanky Puppy, trying to get himself towards the podium places. We've got Maldovic VACH1 who's now in the pit lane. Bacon Bonds in 13th place. Skanky Puppy in 11th, who's just got a little bit faster time there. But Vickers, he's all of a sudden clocked right up to the back of Flipper Racing in the BMW Z4. So Vickers VF1 is now all over the back of the gearbox of the BMW driver. We saw how defensive he drove down the Camel Straight earlier. So what's Vickers planning here? Bearing in mind he has got Skanky Puppy bearing down on him very, very quickly indeed. This could become a three-way dance sooner rather than later. Vickers looking at the back of the BMW Z4, and indeed, look at Skanky Puppy. So much more confidence in the RUF, and it looks like he's just going to drive clean past him at the second part of Lake Coombe. Just doesn't quite have the legs to get through at the moment. But Skanky Puppy in a very racy mood here in the RUF, doing everything he can to get back towards the points here, trying to go around the outside of turn 9. That's an aggressive move. It looks like he's not going to get the grip there, but he might be able to fancy his chances to take a late dive down through Pouon here. Very defensive drive from Vickers. He's entitled to do it. And as a result, that Skanky Puppy is trying to do everything he can to get back into the points, to put him in 10th place, 1 point provisionally. But Skanky Puppy has it all to do here as we head further through the track circus. And look at this. Skanky Puppy heading into Fagnier, really attacking the back of Vickers VF1 in the McLaren, trying to go wide as much as he dares, almost into the gravel trap down towards Stavelot. He's determined to get past this McLaren. He's fed up of being held up. Skanky Puppy weaving left and right, doing all he can to get through, but Vickers will not let him pass. Getting on the inside there, Skanky Puppy might try and out-drag him towards Blanchimont. This will be very brave indeed. They're almost side by side, but Skanky Puppy makes that stick, kicks the grass. It's got to make sure he doesn't do a repeat of earlier in the race here, and he gets away with it. Great driving from Skanky Puppy. Meanwhile, one of the BMW drivers has gone over the white line going into the pits. That could be a penalty, as well Vickers also follows him in, so it's going to be a battle on the pit crew between them. Skanky Puppy now in 9th place. In fact, he's going to go quickly up to 8th. The System Flint is also in the box, as is Dan RC. So all these drivers have now come in for the mandatory stops here, and Skanky Puppy filters back into 7th place, assuming he's been into the pits. We have no way of confirming that. You've got Football 67601 is in 5th place. Then you've got Bergamo in 6th and Football in 5th place, sorry. Killer Ramsey in 4th place. He's been in for his mandatory stop and come out down in 4th behind Ace Killer 15, who we saw how much of a handful he was for the driver Paulie Dog. And Bobley Swire is now your inherent leader, but he's really got it all to do if he wants to get a repeat of the success that he enjoyed at Mount Panorama. Ace Killer 15 doing all he can to resist the RUF of Killer Ramsey, who's fancying a move on the inside of Pouon. Wow, look at the pace from that performance from Killer Ramsey heading into Fanye, and that is a masterful overtake from Killer Ramsey. He's psyched out Ace Killer by trying to go up the inside of Pouon and then deliberately drove wide to have the inside line for Fanye. Absolutely superb. Meanwhile, Ace Killer's just go and watch as the RUS starts to disappear into the distance. We're getting close to halfway through the race at the moment here at Spa-Francorchamps, and you can see how Ace Killer is really finding it difficult to follow in the footsteps of Killer Ramsey, who's already got a good second on him. Football 6-7-1 is in 5th place. You got Bagabo down in 6th, out on his own really, and Skarky Puppy in 7th, doing a good recovery drive after an opening lap crash between himself and Skinky. But in the meantime, you've got Knight 4001 in 8th place, and Dan in 9th, Marnovic 10th, System Flint down in 11th. So while we've got a bit of a lull in the action, I'll give you another rundown of the fastest lap times. A 2:17.6 is the fastest of Bob Lee Swago, who's been followed by his teammate on a 2:17.8. But look at this, Killer Ramsey, 2:16.6 in 3rd place, Ace Killer 2:18.8, Football 2:19.9. Yeah, it's good enough for 5th. Bagavo 2:17.0. Then you got Skarky Puppy at 2:16.6. Only 2/100ths of a second between him and his teammate. Knight 4001, meanwhile, is in 7th place on a 2:17.6. Dan RC a 2:20.4, and then Maldovic on a 2:20.4 to round off the top 10. And unfortunately, we are at that lull where the drivers have all kind of spread out a bit. So at this point in the race, until everyone has their final pit stop, it's a bit of an anticlimax. But that may yet change as Skanky Puppy is slowly catching up to the back of Bagabo. He's not as much as fast as he was before, but he's still catching that BMW Z4 driver. And 6 laps to go here at Spa-Francorchamps, so there's still an opportunity for these drivers to really get themselves into a good position. Heading further forward, you've got Bagabo just going through Fanye, Skanky comes out the end of Pouon. Then you've got Knight 4001 who's just going through the second part of Pouon. Now we've got a bit of possible inter-team rivalry here. Dan RC 2010 in the McLaren MP412C has got Maldovic VHCH1 very close indeed behind as well. So these drivers head down towards Pouon. You can see that Maldovic is really getting close and aggressive on the abrasive driving, goes wider on the outside of the first part of Pouon. Uses that to get a tighter line back towards Fanye, and Maldovic is really on the offensive here, heading through for Fanye chicane. Maldovic on the attack on his teammate Dan RC 2010. Battle of the teammates, closest barometer you've got in motorsport is how what you do in your team comparison to your teammate. Maldovic going almost into the wall there as he clips the gravel, coming out the edge of Stavolo, but look at how much speed he carried into the start curbing Paul Ferrari. This is a great opportunity now for Maldovic to get himself back in front and haul a few more points on the board over his teammate Dan RC 2010. They're both in the slipstream heading down towards Stavolo. Great opportunity here for Maldovic. Can he make this move stick? Not going to look at making an attack here, but you get the feeling whether it's down towards La Source or whether it's down towards Eau Rouge, he's certainly going to be on the attack. Into the bus stop chicane, gets on the brakes a little later than his teammate, so Maldovic more confident in the car. Look at how much difference in speed they've got there. Maldovic definitely being held up by his teammate a little bit here, but Dan is not yielding. Dan will not give up. Bit of damage to the front of that McLaren MP4-12 says Dan RC 2010 has got his teammate all over his gearbox now. They get into the slipstream down towards the Eau Rouge radio combo. A great opportunity here for Maldovic to get into a good slipstream down the Campbell straight into Lake Coombe. Kiss the apex very nicely there. Does Maldovic. As you can see, his teammates go wide, way too far off the swing. That's cost him a lot of speed there. Maldovic pulls out the slipstream early. They're side by side, heading out towards Lake Coon. Both drivers almost no giving the cars. Very little difference. Maldovic briefly goes ahead. Can he get the car stopped in time? Is it going to compromise his teammate Dan RC 2010? No, but Dan RC 2010 got a better entry into the source, into Lake Coon, sorry, and that gives him a much better opportunity coming out of Rivage. Dan is not giving this move up. Heading down towards the tight downhill hairpin, gets on the brakes. Dan RC 2010 gets a decent clean entry, but at the same time ahead of him, Maldovic drags that car through. Team rivalry is the closest thing on circuit at the moment, so we'll remain here for now. And you see that Dan RC 2010 gets a much better exit out of turn 9, head down towards Pouon. That's going to give him the extra grip and the extra confidence into Fagnes and Stabilo, which is where it's all about having the faith in the car as you go to the edge of the curves of the circuit. Dan RC 2010 gets a really good run on the outside there. Look at the speed differential, and Maldovic's actually just going to let him by the looks of it. In fact, Maldovic's let him go. I think Maldovic was so caught out by the speed difference, it's just decided to swap positions and get back in. Unlike most of the world sports, there is no extra point for all the cars leading the field, so there's none of that gamesmanship where a team deliberately lets someone overtake, weed for a lap and then overtake again. This is just purely about balls to the wall driving. Maldovic though seems to be losing out on his teammate in terms of pace. Meanwhile, Night 4001 is now very close to the back of Ace Killer 15, so we'll ride on board with these two as we head down towards the end of another lap. There's 4 laps to go, including this one here at Spa-Francorchamps, the Arden Forest in Belgium. Thank you all very much for watching here live and exclusive on Twitch.tv. I've been Pete Marcroft, and this has been for Excite Racing League's PlayStation 4 GT3 division. If you're not watching it live and you are watching it on the tape play via YouTube, we are here Saturday night at 10 p.m. The next race is going to be at the Autodromo Nazionale in Monza, Italy, one of the fastest flowing circuits, low downforce, and it's barely changed in 50 years. And even though Bernie Ecclestone wants more money out of them, the fans and the Tifosi want to see the circuit on the calendar. So I'm sure some kind of deal will be thrashed out. For those of you who are going to be enjoying your motorsport tomorrow, don't forget that tomorrow morning, I think it's 7 a.m. GMT, is the Chinese Grand Prix from Shanghai in Formula 1. And then at noon from Silverstone, you got the first round of the World Endurance Championship. There's also touring cars action tomorrow. You're absolutely spoiled for choice if you're a petrol head, and if you're watching us tonight, no doubt you'll be sat there tomorrow with a few beers, enjoying the sound of gunning engines and overtaking moves. As Night 4001 slowly catches to the back of Ace Killer. Moving further up the field, you can see that Paulie Dog is very much out on his own. Skunky Puppy now running in P4 as we go through Fagnes. This is a great recovery. Bagavo going into Curve Paul Ferret is in third place. Bobley Swagger firmly in second, and Killer Ramsey out in front on foot, 25 points again. But Skunky Puppy really attacking and doing all he can to get close here. Meanwhile, Night 4001 has actually fallen away a little bit from the back of the McLaren MP4-12 Ace Killer. If anything, Ace Killer is starting to catch up to the back markers. Moving further back through the field, you can see System Flip in 11 very much on his own, same with Flipper Racing, and Bacon Bonds as well, and then Vickers at the very back of the field. And then there's Super Bob 1995, who is driving in the BMW, and he is very much on his own too. But there's been absolutely no retirements for Spa, which is the most interesting factor, aside from myself, of course, who's gone into the commentary box. On the stream here, Wesbit Gaming says he loves the BTCC, but the World Touring Cars is a bit, and then 3 stars. I'm guessing you mean arse. The World Touring Cars, one of the things that makes it a bit poor in my respect, it's the lack of real manufacturer equality. You see that the Citroens have been a bit too quick compared to the Peugeots. There's been no, and the Hondas haven't been able to catch up either. It's been very much a disparity in the performance of the cars, really. Whereas the BTCC, you've got the BMWs, you've got the MGs, you've got the Honda Civics, you've got so much in terms of close quarters racing. And I think also the circuits are better suited on the British touring car circuit than the World Touring Car circuit. You go to the likes of Oldham Park, go to the likes of Croft, go to the likes of Snetterton. They encourage close driving through some very twisty technical courses. Whereas the World Touring Cars takes in some circuits which don't don't really work that well, such as Brno and such as well, I don't know which circuit it is in Germany. I think it's something Speedway Ring or something. Looks like a head of a cockatrice chicken. It's actually not a very good layout. That's another one that really struggles. Meanwhile, looking at this at the moment, you can see Ace Killer 15 being held up by Super Bob 1995 in the BMW M3. Super Bob's got to be careful. If he doesn't get out of the way, he's going to get a penalty. And in the end, he always gets punted off the circuit by Ace Killer, who ran totally out of patience there and simply said, "You're not being Andrea de Cesaris on me. Get out of the way." And almost shut him into the wall. Meanwhile, but the thing is, that's allowed Night 4001 to really close up the gap very quickly indeed. So needless to say, the RUF is not out of it yet. He might fancy a chance at taking 6th place here as we head towards the end of the circuit. Look at how wide he went at the start of Kirby Paul Ferret there. Night 4001 almost went into the town of Spa rather than the circuit of Spa. Heading down towards the Blanchimont sweeper, and you can see that the Ace Killer 15 has got decent pace in that McLaren MP4-12C. Night 4001 just hasn't been able to respond, despite the fact his fastest lap is a second quicker than the McLaren driver. It just shows that grit and consistency can be just as important as all-out pace. It is very much a marathon rather than a sprint. As we head towards the final lap of the race here, Night 4001 closing up to the back of Ace Killer 15. This is going to be a battle to the flag here, and I get the feeling we're going to have to stay on board to the end because I don't think there's much else going on up front. But these guys are going to have a last match ding dong here, heading into Eau Rouge. And Night 4001 on the attack, heading over the top of Radion, gets into the slipstream on the Camel Straight. Ace Killer 15 in real trouble here as we head down towards Lake Combe. Gets in the RUF, gets into the slipstream of the McLaren, and then plants his vehicle more towards the middle of the road there. Ace Killer 15, Night 4001 takes a look into the start of Lake Combe, just too far behind. Can't make the late braking manoeuvre. He's got to be consistent now. He has to be very quick, very precise. Heading through the inside towards the end of the Lake Combe complex, on towards Ravage. This is pretty much the last chance opportunity, and maybe one more lap left after this, and that is very much it. Heading into Ravage, because at Night 4001 it's much smoother, much more controlled on the power, going through those corners at 9, heading down towards Pouon. But at the same time, Ace Killer 15, it's just doing enough to cling on. It's defensive driving, it's reactive driving, it's regressive driving, but it's working. And Night 4001 is really struggling to attack here, going through the outside of Pouon down towards Fanier. He's really slamming the steering wheel in frustration as the RUF seems to be a much more balanced car. Heading through Fanier, he seems to have much better control. Going on the outside towards the gravel trap, both drivers really pushing a lot using the AstroTurf into Stabilo, and you can see how much quicker Night 4001 was able to flick the car in there at the start of Kirby Paul Ferret. And you can see, look how wide Ace Killer 15 went, trying to get as much power out of the car as possible. Heading down through the final sector towards Blanchimont and on towards the bus stop chicane. This is the opportunity to really get that position back. Night 4001 might fancy a late lunging move here. Gets in the slippery. Well, look how much difference that the McLaren drivers got there heading into the bus stop chicane. Night 4001 makes a mistake that's a little too out of shape on the braking, and that allows Ace Killer to get a bit of a better run heading out towards Lost Source Hairpin here. Gets in the slipstream. Night 4001 surely knows that this is the end of this, as I managed to accidentally get his profile up. Looking at the back here, Night 4001 tries to pull alongside Ace Killer 15. It's possibly going to be a photo finish between these two. It's going to be pretty close. But Night 4001 is just not able to make it work. As we go on to the final lap, hell, it's up with Eau Rouge and Radion. Night 4001, last chance saloon, gets on the attack in the RUF. Really wanting to push that car as much as possible as Ace Killer 15 gets on the brakes towards Lake Combe. Is that going to strike Night 4001 out? He doesn't look intimidating. Oh, he's made a mistake and over the inside there. That'll cost him time. Critical tenth of a second. Gives that gauge back to Ace Killer 15. Night 4001 in the RUF gets up close to the back of the McLaren driver going into Ravage. You can see that he's just much more, he's being the hunter. It's much harder than being a hunter at this stage. You've got to keep it smooth, you've got to keep it controlled, you've got to keep it calm. And Ace Killer has just been able to hang on thus far. Going into Piron, this is a great opportunity here for the RUF driver, Night 4001, to take some useful points. Heading out of this Grand Prix here at Spa-Francorchamps, heading into Monza next week in Italy. Night 4001 looking at the inside of Fanier as Ace Killer 15 gets a little out of shape there. Gets a little wrong, but at the same time, Night 4001 is just not quite able to close. Heading into Stavelot, is he thinking about a late lunge here? Not quite got the pace close enough, but he is going to be close through Curve Parforet, and now might allow him to follow quickly down towards the bus stop chicane. Mistake from Ace Killer 15. They're side by side, heading down towards Sector 3. This is magnificently close driving here. Let's go on board as we can see Night 4001 just not able to out-drag that McLaren. Heading out towards Bloodshimon. You can see a mistake made there by Night 4001. Gets out of shape, heading towards the bus stop chicane. Ace Killer 15 won't be able to believe his luck here. How has he been able to hang on? Heading into the bus stop chicane for the final time. Night 4001 tries, goes wide, gets on the power as early as he dares, but this is not going to be enough. Night 4001 has one last opportunity, a suicide lunge into La Source, but he's just too far behind. Ace Killer has got to keep it together now. Night 4001 goes wide. Can he use the extra pace and the extra grunt to get clear? It doesn't look like it, and Ace Killer 15 retains 6th place. Moving further back, football 67611, trying to close up as quick as he dares. Meanwhile, late lunge moving for Dan RC 2010 almost got shots at the side there by Special Bob in the BMW M3. That's not done him any favours, but he's not lost out either. Maldovik in 10th place behind has got System Flynn battling for the final point in the Torque and the Ginetta G55. Is it going to be enough to push him over the line ahead? No, it's not. Maldovik just resists him, but that was very close indeed. Meanwhile, Superbomb 1995 is being lapped by one of the McLarens, and that's pretty much the end of it. So, absolutely extraordinary performances here overall at this circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, and you can see that the drivers are all struggling to make their moves there, but the race has settled very much down as the Skanky Poppy, Killer Ramsey and Bagavo enjoy their victory laps here. So the final top 10 have been decided. There it is. The first place goes to Killer Ramsey, then you've got Bagavo second, Skanky Poppy well in third place, and then you've also got after that, you've got Bob Polydog in fourth, Bobley Swagger a disappointing fifth, Ace Killer 15 sixth place after that heroic defence against Night 4001 who comes home seventh, Football 67611 is eighth, Dan RC 2010 is ninth, and Maldovik rounds off the top 10. Honourable mention to System Flint, who came so close but just wasn't able to get the job done. Then you've got Vickers VF1 in 12th, and Baker Bonds in the McLaren in 13th, Super Bob in 14th. Well, all I can say is that has been the race here at Spa-Francorchamps. It's been aggressive, it's been mental, it's been hard fought, but it's also been a lot of fun. This has been Twitch.tv live and exclusive Excite Racing League PlayStation 4 GT3 League. I've been Peter Markroth. Thank you all very much for watching, and good night.